Hey folks, this is JR with DIY Prepper. Welcome to the channel. When a lot of folks think of a disaster, it usually involves heading for the hills and surviving in the woods, but there's a couple of problems with that. First, the vast majority of people have fewer wilderness survival skills than a first-year Cub Scout, and second, most people don't live near the woods. The fact is that the vast majority of folks live in cities or towns, and if a large-scale disaster were to happen, that's exactly where they'll be stuck when things start to go sideways, and surviving in an urban environment can be incredibly difficult. Resources disappear fast, people panic, and basic infrastructure that we take for granted, like power, running water, even traffic control, can completely fall apart. Even if you plan on bugging out somewhere remote, you'll have to get out first. So today, we're going to talk about what you need to know if you're in an urban environment in the opening stages of a disaster. And one of your first concerns is going to be navigation. You're either going to be trying to get home or get out of town entirely, and during any kind of major emergency, whether it's a power outage, a chemical spill, a cyber attack, or even just a bad storm, traffic likes to go offline, roads get blocked, and people start to act very stupid. If the situation's really bad, you could also be dealing with structural damage, including things like collapsed overpasses, down power lines, sinkholes, or even buildings spilling debris into the street, all of which would make it even harder to get around. Then you'll have other issues from stalled out vehicles that ran out of gas, got overheated in traffic, or were abandoned when their owners realized that they weren't getting anywhere. So start by knowing multiple routes to your home or backup location. Don't rely on GPS because those systems could go offline. Take some time now, drive around a little bit, and learn alternate routes through your area. Look for side streets, back alleys, or even walking paths that could help you avoid major roads or problem areas. Then there's always a chance you may have to go on foot. So make sure you have a pair of sturdy shoes with you, even if it's just something that you keep in your car or your office. Also, start conditioning yourself as well. Take walks around your neighborhood or a local park if you have one. Having paper maps of your area is another smart move, and for those, be sure to have both local street maps and highway maps for your state or region. You can mark potential choke points, dangerous areas, and safe zones ahead of time. And if your phone still works, make sure you've downloaded offline maps for your area just in case you lose signal or power. The USGS website is a great place to download topo maps for free. And if you're navigating at night or in a blackout, you'll need a light, but not too much of it. A small flashlight with a low lumen mode or a red filter can help you see without drawing too much attention to you. You can also clip it to your bag or clothing so that you can keep your hands free, and headlamps are good as well. Then if you're traveling with others, establish a plan ahead of time. Decide on rally points and backup meeting locations in case you get separated or you can't get in touch. But more than anything, keep your eyes open. Be aware of crowds, watch out for bottlenecks, and avoid areas where people are gathering unless you absolutely have to go through them, and then even then, try not to. Then another issue you may have to deal with in an urban area is environmental hazards. Those can include broken glass, airborne chemicals, smoke, or even worse. Without the right gear, you could end up getting all cut up or have some long-term health problems. That's why it's so important to have some basic personal protective gear, things like gloves, eye protection, sturdy clothing, and breathing protection. A basic N95 mask will help against most dust and smoke, but it won't stop chemical vapors or biological threats. A half-face respirator is a lot more effective, but when you're dealing with really serious threats, a full-face respirator or gas mask is your safest option. Now, I've covered masks like the CM6M on my channel in the past, and those are a great choice for adults since they can protect you from biological, chemical, and nuclear threats in addition to harmful dust and debris. If you have a family, though, they're not the best choice for smaller kids. They're too big to fit properly on little faces, and even if they did fit, a lot of kids probably wouldn't do well with a big, hot, heavy mask hanging off of their face. Most adults can suck it up and deal with it, but good luck keeping a mask on a stubborn 4-year-old. Recently, though, Mira Safety sent me their CM3M Child Escape Respirator, so I like to thank them for doing that. I asked for that one since I thought it'd be a much better choice for smaller kids like my son, who probably wouldn't fare very well with a more traditional mask. The CM3M comes as a full system, an expandable hood, tubing, battery-powered blower unit, waist or back harness, integrated drinking system, and a CBRN rated filter. It's designed to fit children roughly ages 2 up to small teens and give them solid breathing protection before they're old enough to transition to a more traditional mask. The blower is powered by 4 standard CR1238 batteries and delivers about 45 liters per minute of positive pressure airflow, making breathing much easier for kids and can provide up to 15 hours of runtime. The hood's made of a 4-layer PVC nylon combo, which gives it good tear resistance and reliable aerosol protection. To use it, start by inserting 4 fresh CR1238 batteries, mine were already installed when it arrived, and attach the included CBRN filter. Then figure out how your child will carry the blower unit. Smaller kids will probably do better with the backpack style harness, while the belt clip will work good for older ones. Then turn on the blower and place the hood over your child's head. The positive pressure system inflates the hood, seals around the neck diaphragm, and begins airflow. This overpressurizes the interior and prevents contaminated air from entering inside. Then, since it includes an integrated hydration tube, your child can sip through the built-in water bottle system even while wearing the hood, and that's a great feature to have on something like this because drinking water is always a must while wearing hot protective gear. Overall, I think it's a great option if you're like me and have small kids. My son actually really likes this. He calls it his astronaut helmet, and he's been bugging me about wanting to wear it pretty much ever since we got it. And you can learn more about it and Mira Safety's other products using the link in the description below. Then also be sure that your kit includes nitrile gloves and long sleeve clothes, along with safety glasses or goggles for times where you don't need full face breathing protection. Another thing you'll need in an urban environment is tools, the first one being a good multi-tool. I personally like full-size versions like the Swiss Tool X since it comes with solid pliers, wire cutters, and a decent selection of screwdrivers. Being able to tighten down a loose bolt, remove screws, or even just cut zip ties can come in handy way more often than you think. And while it probably won't replace a full toolkit, a quality multi-tool can handle quite a few small jobs. If you need to get through fencing or thick wires, though, a pair of linesman pliers or fencing pliers is a very good upgrade. A multi-tool might technically be able to do a lot of that, but it'll wear out your hand fast and it might break in the process. And then for really stubborn materials, consider mini bolt cutters. Those are compact enough to stash in a bag or trunk, but strong enough to cut through chains, wire fencing, or padlocks if needed. Obviously, don't use them to do anything illegal, but they can be useful if you need to get through certain types of debris. A pry bar is another good thing to have since it can give you the leverage that you need to lift debris or open a jammed door. It can also be used for digging through rubble or breaking apart stuff that's blocking your path, but with those and other things like those mini bolt cutters, you probably need to be careful if you carry them in certain areas. It's best to keep them in a larger toolkit just so it doesn't look like you're up to something if you just have those types of tools by themselves. Then, just like any other survival situation, you're going to need food and water, with water being the most important in most cases. Unfortunately, though, getting clean water in a city can get pretty tricky. If the power goes out, high-rise buildings will lose water pressure almost immediately, and even smaller buildings will only have what's left in the pipes or water tower. Once that's gone, then you're on your own. So always have plenty of water stored at your home and at least some where you work. You could do something like keep a package of bottled water under your desk, but when you're on the move, you're going to need ways to collect water and the tools to make it safe. In an urban environment, the water you find, whether it's from like a fountain, decorative pond, or an old spigot, can be full of both biological and chemical contaminants. A basic filter just isn't going to cut it, but one very good option for this is a Grail purifier bottle. Unlike Sawyers and Life straws, they don't remove just bacteria and sediment. They can also take care of viruses and a lot of chemical contaminants, and that makes them perfect for water sources in urban environments. You just fill the outer container, press down, and in about 10 seconds you have clean, safe drinking water. I like to pair mine with a stainless steel water bottle so that I have something durable that can handle both storage and boiling tasks in case the Grail fails. Then you can also carry water purification tablets as a backup. They're lightweight and take up almost no space in your kit. Just remember, though, that they won't remove chemicals, so having a better filter like a Grail is still a good idea. Also, be sure to include a Silcock key in all of your vehicles and kits, since those can be used to access water from spigots on the outside of commercial buildings. After that's food, and for this, keep it simple. If you're trying to get back home or out of an area quickly, cooking isn't something you want to waste time on. Energy bars like Cliff Bars are a good choice for this. They have a decent amount of calories and give you at least something to put in your stomach. I use them a lot when I have to work away from home. They save me from having to buy an actual lunch, which is good because I'm cheap. Then other things like trail mix jerky or dried fruit are good options as well. Just have something in your EDC bag or desk that'll fill you up on the move and doesn't require any preparation. If you want to keep a small folding stove and some dry fuel tablets in your EDC bag, that's fine, but I'd only plan on using that as a backup if you needed to boil water for some reason. Of course, your at-home food storage should be a lot more substantial though, and you can see the types of foods you should stockpile in my ultimate stockpile checklist. It's free for anyone who signs up for my emails, and you can do that using the link in the description below. Another thing to think about in an urban environment is shelter and temperature control, but it's going to look a lot different than it would out in the woods. Like, you're probably not going to be setting up a tent in the middle of an alley or behind a grocery store. Instead, focus on lightweight items that won't slow you down. Your first layer of protection is going to be the clothes on your back or a change of clothes that you keep in a kit or your vehicle. If you have to wear dress shoes, be sure to have something sturdy and comfortable that you can change into, along with other clothes that you can walk or do more manual type activities in. Also have seasonal items like wool gloves and hats in the winter and cooling towels in the summer. Beyond that, a military style poncho is a great thing to have. It'll keep the rain off, doesn't take up much space, and you can use the grommets to rig it into a basic shelter if needed. I also like that they're available in a lot of colors, including neutral ones, so you don't have to stick out like the tactical guy, but they're still very useful. Then bivy sacks are another good option if you need to shelter in cold weather or at work or in your car. I like the Escape Light bivy because it's breathable, which helps cut down on condensation inside. I've kept mine in my EDC bag for the past couple of years and can't even tell that it's there since it's so stinking light. Mylar blankets can also work, but they may not be as durable, and any sweat you produce isn't going anywhere, which can end up being pretty uncomfortable. Also include a contractor trash bag in your kit to protect your gear in case you have to walk in the rain. Another big concern in an urban environment is going to be security and defense. People will be panicking, criminals will use bad situations as opportunities, and law enforcement will be totally overwhelmed. Start by keeping your head on a swivel and being aware of what's going on around you. That'll help you avoid bad situations and be less appealing to somebody who's just looking for an easy opportunity. Also, if you live in an area with strong self-defense laws, take advantage of them. Concealed carry is a great option here in Texas, but if it isn't where you live, I know some of y'all live in areas with different rules than me, then do whatever you can, whether it's pepper spray or even a walking stick. Have something you can use. Then other forms of protection can be useful also, like I have a ballistic panel in my backpack that can stop most handgun rounds. Since it's inside my bag, no one ever even knows that it's there, then my backpack itself doesn't look tactical or make me stick out. And that's also important since you don't want to draw attention to yourself in an emergency, especially in a way that suggests you may have something worth stealing. Keep your eyes open, blend in as much as you can, and be willing to take action if necessary. After that, you also want to have the ability to communicate, because when the power goes out in a city, it's not just about the lights going off. You lose access to news, navigation, and most forms of communication. In a worst case scenario, that might mean no cell service, no internet, and no way to know what's going on outside of your immediate area. At the very least, have a couple of USB battery banks fully charged and ready to go. They'll help keep your phone alive if your area does have service, and also let you recharge flashlights, small radios, and other devices. Then for backup communications, radios are an excellent option for short-range use or gathering outside information. Ham radios and some GMRS radios can pick up local FM stations and NOAA weather frequencies, in addition to being able to communicate with other radios two-way. GMRS radios can also be used to communicate with cheaper walkie-talkies. Many families already have, but they do require a license to use. The license, though, is cheap, and you don't have to take a test for it, and it applies to your entire family, which is nice. Another thing you need to think about in an urban environment is first aid and hygiene. Injuries and illnesses are going to be a lot more likely than most people realize. Broken glass, sharp exposed metal, smoke inhalation, and even just walking for long distances can all take a toll on your body, and if you don't have a way to treat those things, they can get out of control pretty fast. That's why a good first aid kit isn't optional, it's essential. You should have bandages, gauze pads, antiseptics, over-the-counter medications, and a few trauma items like a tourniquet or hemostatic bandages. If you're injured, being able to stop bleeding and taking steps to prevent infection could be the difference between getting home or not getting there at all. Then hygiene's another overlooked issue. While you're not going to be too worried about taking a bath while you're trying to get home or out of town, you do still need to do things like wash your hands before eating. Items like hand sanitizer and wet wipes don't take up hardly any room in your kit, and they can help you avoid getting sick. But no matter how much gear you've got, it's not going to mean much without a plan. So before something happens, know your routes, have a get home plan and a bug out plan in case your area becomes way too dangerous to stay. Keep basic supplies at your office or in your vehicle, especially if you have a long commute. A comfortable change of clothes, walking shoes, and a small EDC kit could make a huge difference if you're forced to head home on foot. You should also know when to leave. Sometimes sheltering in place is the best option, but in a worst case scenario, staying put might actually be the most dangerous thing that you could do. That's why having a fallback location, even if it's like a relative or friend's house a couple counties over, is worth figuring out now. Now, if you want to see a list of preps that most people don't even think of, then click here, or if you want to go deeper into specific urban survival gear and tools, then click here. Once again, I'd like to thank Mira Safety for sending us the CM3M to take a look at today. Thank y'all for stopping by. Y'all have a good one.